Hi, I'm Mary Sarah, and you're watching Sing, Sew, Repeat. On this channel, I share two of my greatest passions, singing and sewing. On the singing front, I was a professional singer for 13 years in Orlando, Florida, singing mostly in a cappella groups at Walt Disney World and at SeaWorld. On the sewing side, I learned to sew when I was very young, probably 10 or 11. I didn't really do much with it at all until around 2020 when that hit and we all had all this extra time on our hands. So I picked up sewing again and sewed mostly children's clothes until very recently I started sewing clothes for myself. So this week's video is all about sewing. I have 3 makes to show you today, so let's get into it. So first up is the Butterick pattern I used for both of these tops. This is Butterick 6175 right here. Actually, I'll probably just put it on the screen. It's a lot easier. I feel like it shows up better anyway. So Butterick 6175. This was the first time I made this one, and I actually cut it out of the linen cotton blend that I did for this outfit here. And I actually had this cut out first, but then 4th of July was coming and I live in Florida and I'm American. So I was wanting to make this top to wear for my 4th of July outfit and decided to go ahead and use the same pattern. So basically I just had the pattern already cut out and pinned to this other fabric, which I just laid on top of this and made this first. So this is an easy pattern. It's a semi-fitted pullover top, has a back neckline slit and button thread loop. So for this one, I just did the straight across hem and then the sleeve that went here. I did everything except I ended up shortening it to whatever length I wanted, so I didn't go by the pattern on that. And then for the back, this was the men's dress shirt that I used from the thrift haul that I did a few weeks ago. And I didn't do the button loop and button. I actually just had, this is not a hook and eye, but I don't know what this is. You know, it's just me and my sewing journey. It's whatever that is. I had a little box of that, a lot of these little fasteners that I actually got at an estate sale in my neighborhood not too many weeks ago. So I decided to do that because it was right on the button placket. So since I wanted to utilize the button placket, which was on the front of the shirt, I used it for the back. I just loved that detail. So that's how I decided to close the back. This is a really great pattern. I'm still, which I will talk about in this next top, still trying to figure out some fitting on this. I think because I did this as like a thrift flip, I played around with the sleeve a little bit. I cut it a little bit bigger and poofier, and then when I put it on, I hated it. So I took off the sleeves and then recut them per the pattern piece. Hold on, my baby is crying. So this is exactly how it's supposed to look. I feel like fits a little wonky because I left the button placket on the back. When I laid the pattern piece out, I don't think I accounted for the seam allowance. So I think the back ended up a little bit bigger. Overall, I love it. I think it's great. I like that it's a little bit boxy, but there's just some fitting in the shoulders that I don't think, that didn't happen with the other top. So I think that's what happens for me. And when I'm flipping items or upcycling items, if I'm not using a pattern and if I'm just trying to figure it out, or even if I am using a pattern and I'm still fudging here and there, the fit is not always the best, or it takes me a long time to actually figure it out. So that was that one. I made this again because I made these pair of pants, which I will talk about, but here's the second top. And this was view D I made with the scalloped bottom. This was like the most complicated detail I have done so far. This one I ended up doing the sleeveless version, and while I hate making things with facings in them, I love the way they look. It just looks so clean and neat. And I remembered to put in a label, which says, it's a little sewing machine. It says handmade, and then you turn it over, it says, it has a with heart on it. Anyway, so cute. And then this, I also did not do the button loop and button because honestly, I don't know how to do the, where you make the button loop yourself, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. So I had these same closures. This was the hook and eye. So I just sewed that onto there and I closed it that way. So, but I really love this. Look at the scallops on this. It's not, you know, exactly perfect. Like there's some that are a little bit more squared off. Everywhere I did the seam, that's what happened. So it's just like a little bit more square, and like this one for sure in the back, but oh, I love it so much. And I think next time I would just be more aware that I'm sewing on the seam and just make sure that I draw the circle a little bit down, because it does actually look like it goes across when it's on the pattern piece. So next time I will do that. I'm definitely gonna make this again. I did shorten it 2 inches because I wanted it to go with these high-waisted pants. And if you look at where it is on the pattern piece, it's really more, it looks cropped, but it's really more hip level. And I wanted it up just a little bit to basically go just over the waistband. And it does, it works. So I really like this one. I think this could become a tried and true. Oh, one other thing I didn't do. I did not interface it's basically a hem facing to make the scallops, and I didn't interface that. I feel like I interfaced the neck facing and the arm facings, but I just felt like it's a little bulky because it's a linen cotton blend. It's already pretty sturdy. So I just decided not to do that down here, and maybe I should have, but whatever. Oh, the only issue I did have was the bust darts. And I'm gonna take footage of this before I try to fix it because I'm just a little baffled. You all know I'm fully transparent with any fitting issues I have, and I haven't quite figured this one out yet. So I'll insert some footage of because I'm still on the journey. I just feel like there's some stuff here happening. It's a little bit extra in here and here, and you really notice it. Ignore my mess. Ignore my girl screaming in the background. I'm wondering if I pull it just a scotch deeper, if that will help. And instead of I was trying to like, pull it from this area. I don't know. I feel like maybe I need to take some out of the pattern. I don't want to lose the boxiness, but like, is it too much here? But I don't know. Darts are not something that I know very much about. Yeah, and if that kind of goes here, I feel like my apex is like right here. Like, how do I get it to go right there unless that's okay? So I'm gonna try that. There's still this kind of thing here. I don't know. I don't really know. But I think that helps. So I might try that and then see what happens. All right.
Good morning from a beautiful muggy morning at 7 a.m. in Central Florida. I've got my little emotional support coffee here because I'm going to talk to you about my top. So I last left you with showing you what I might do to fix it. Here's the thing. I'm going to need a sip. I redid these darts 5 times, at least. And I'm still back to, I think there's just extra fabric here. I've done the best I can. I even researched how to sew a dart, even though I know how to sew a dart. But I curved it, I pressed it, and I still feel like, I think it's better than it was, but I still think there's just a little bit of extra fabric. Maybe my bust is not big enough, and I have not read the pattern instructions to see if it's a bigger cup size. You know, I also am thinking it's a sturdy linen cotton blend, but maybe it's a little looser of a weave, so somehow this has stretched out. I don't know. However, I think now, it's a little bit better than maybe it was. So I still feel like there's a little puckering here, but you know, not horrible. And this one, kind of the same, but you know, when I keep trying it, I feel like I should pinch out this much more, but I don't like where it lands when it's up here. I like it back a little bit. So if any of you know what has happened here, do tell. I can't tell. When I turned it on in the reverse, this was a little big. I don't know, y'all. I'm doing the best I can. I like it. I think now it makes a lot more sense. I am gonna make this top again because I really, really do love it. I may do the scalloped hem. I actually may look at the suggested fabrics. Maybe that also might help. I think this was maybe a little too sturdy. I don't have that in mind what they were, but I know this was not on the list. So anyway, this is where it ended up, and I like it. There's the back. So thanks for coming along on the journey.
And that goes with this pair of pants, which ended up being my second pair of woven pants. I know I talked about the oranges before I talked about this one, but only because this one hadn't been released yet, because it was a pattern test for a company in the UK called Bobbins and Buttons. So cute. She has done other patterns, so this is not her first pattern, but it is a beginner-friendly pattern. Here's the front of that. I'll also put that up on the screen. It's called the Compton trousers, and it's suitable for beginners. So good. A slightly cropped trouser designed for comfort and ease, and this style features a wide elastic waistband for a flexible fit, flattering front pleats, and practical side seam pockets. She also mentioned somewhere that it kind of has a slight barrel leg, which I can see. It's definitely not an obvious barrel, but I do feel like they're a classic silhouette with a modern twist, I think. And the added bonus of the pleats makes it an elevated basic, which I love. So, and with the elastic waistband was 2 inches. And I know I've talked about that in the past where I don't like 1-inch waistbands. And I love this one. Oh my goodness, it turned out so great. Now, my only thing is that I don't love linen for the rumpliness. I know some people do. I don't. I like it to be pressed very clean, even though I know that as I wear it, it's going to rumple. But I've always had an issue with linen with this. And this one is really hard to iron, maybe because of the cotton. But this one is kind of annoying. But I love the pant. So when I get it nice and clean and crisp, I just love it. So these are the 2 front pleats. Really easy. I mean, for definitely a beginner pattern, but it doesn't feel too beginner. Like there's these added details that make it seem not so easy. I didn't do any modifications to the pattern piece itself. However, I hemmed it according to the instructions. I went ahead and just flipped it under, and I haven't finished that hem part. I haven't finished that hem. I just need to sew it down because I was kind of testing it out to see if I really wanted it a little bit shorter. And I kind of liked it just flipped under for my height. So I'm gonna do that. When I tried them on, there was a little spot right in here. It bubbled just a little bit. And this is what I'm thinking, you all who know fitting things, I've heard so much about a sway back adjustment, but I did not know what that was. But I'm thinking that that's what happened here. So like my butt fit fully in here and it was great, but then there was like this little bit here. So I just pinched out like just maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a hair more right out of this little part here. And that helped a lot. So I think I would look at that next time on the pattern pieces, maybe just like pinching out a little bit of that. But overall, they fit so good. Yeah, I love this pattern. All of these will be listed in the description, the butterick pattern, the Compton trousers from Bobbins and Buttons, and of course, sound off in the comments. All of you had such amazing feedback on my last video about all my fit issues. Wow, so many great ideas that came from that. And just thanks for sharing your thoughts overall, and thanks for being here and watching. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.